Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back. Wow, it's been almost 2 months since I came on here. Sorry, I'm sitting outside again today, so you may hear some birds and Daddy does. But anyhow, yeah, so I took basically 2 months off, which was really needed for me. After Christmas we went with some family to the Eastern Cape, to Jeffreys Bay, which is a coastal town in the Eastern Cape, and we went with all my mom's family, all her brothers and her sister and my cousin and her husband. We had a wonderful 2 weeks, and I think I came to a revolution for myself, to say. We were there over the New Year, and I was talking to Arne, and he asked me, do you have any New Year's resolutions? And I said to him, it sometimes feels like New Year's resolutions are a bit of BS, because I think we overestimate our goals at the beginning of the year. And there's actually nothing wrong with it, but we put too many things on our plate, and the thing is, we stick to it for 1 or 2 or 3 months, and then we burn out and life happens. And I think it is just so important to view your goals as a lifestyle and not necessarily things that is very rigid. So this year I am changing my mindset. I don't have necessarily specific goals. I think my New Year's resolutions every year will stay the same, like exercising and eating healthy and setting goals and working towards that goals. About a month ago, a bit more than a month ago, I turned 28, and I must say, for me, it changed my mindset, and I want to talk about this mindset today and what my mindset for this year will be. So this year, there's some things I want to incorporate in my life, and there's some things I want to omit from my life. So my first one is protecting my energy. For me, protecting my energy means saying no to some things. In economy, there's a principle, opportunity cost. That means when you say no to one thing, you are saying yes to another, and vice versa. So this year I truly want to focus on things that makes life better, and saying no to things which I just truly feel has no return on investment for me. I think in the past there was so many times that I have just said yes to basically everything and everyone, and in retrospect I don't really think that gave me any return on investment, and for everyone that can mean something else. So this year I think it is important to just re-evaluate what is really important to you. What gives you energy? I think that is such an important factor. If you are pouring your whole life into things that is draining you, you are going to feel burnt out. And that's when you're going to start to think, what is the point? So for me this year, I am going to say no. No to the things that burn out my energy. No to things that I believe has no return on investment for myself. And it's interesting, because I think one of our flaws as humans, and I don't know if it's necessarily a flaw, but most of the time we feel inclined to say yes to everyone and everything, because it's just human nature that we don't necessarily want to disappoint people. Oh, shut up. We don't necessarily want to disappoint people, and it's sometimes uncomfortable to say no, and sometimes people feel you need to give an explanation when you say no. And I think this year, stop with the explanations. Even if someone says no to you, just accept it, because I think we need to give people space. space for themselves, and space for the things that's important to them. Then my second point is rebuilding my energy on weekends. And I think it ties well with my first point or remark that we should be protecting our energy. So last year, when I started YouTube, it's almost a year now. Not quite. No, actually not quite. But it is a year ago when we bought this camera and all the camera gear, and I will one day do a whole video about why I did not go practice law. But starting YouTube, it sounds easy. It sounds like you think it's only buying a camera and camera gear and have some ideas and just go with the flow. But in retrospect, people don't necessarily have any idea how much preparation and things you should learn to actually make YouTube your full-time job. So what happened is, even when I was younger and even up to now, I'm a social media user, but it's actually funny because my old Instagram account, I think, has 3 photos on them, and I don't even think one of them was a photo of myself. So it really took a mindset shift to decide that I'm going to put myself out there. But that's not quite the point I want to make. The point is, I had no history with cameras. I didn't have a clue how to use them, or the camera setup, or what it actually entails to make a YouTube video. So what happened is, Arne does luckily have a big interest in cameras, and we actually bought this camera for him and his photography hobby, and also his art that he makes. He makes digital design portraits of faces and people. So he actually bought this camera to take photos for his artwork. And that's when I decided, you know, he actually uses this camera only on a weekend or maybe once or twice a month. Maybe I should try YouTube. But what happened essentially is Arne had to help me to figure all this camera and editing and all the factors out on weekends. So last year it almost felt like every weekend we were busy with YouTube because I didn't felt comfortable enough to just set up the camera and film. I wanted my videos to have a certain look and everything, so that requires to do your research about settings and etc. So every weekend we were busy with editing. It was like a very steep learning curve to figure out how to actually use Final Cut Pro and just the whole thing around YouTube. But I'm not complaining. I am just saying that he had to help me on weekends. So at the end of last year, I was actually quite sad because I had so many ideas to post multiple Christmas vlogs. But truly, I was just so burnt out. And I felt bad because Arne took vacation leave and I just didn't want to ask him to really help me with the Christmas vlogs, and he tells me every time that this is also his passion and he truly wants to help me, but still. So I decided last year with Christmas I'm just going to post one Christmas vlog. And then I decided to take some time off from YouTube just for 2 months and just get my energy back because I truly was burnt out. And in this time I read a book from the YouTuber Ali Abdaal, Feel Good Productivity, and I will in the upcoming weeks give a full-on review about this book and how it changed my mindset about YouTube and how to approach things and how to make your work actually fun. The weekend is the only time you truly have for yourself. And the thing with rebuilding your energy on weekends is sometimes you must say no to some social events. And actually sometimes it means saying yes to some social events, because not all social events does drain you. Some of them do rebuild your energy. So you truly need to do introspection about which social interactions drain you and which social interactions rebuild your energy. And say yes to those and say less yes to those who drain your energy. and really have a plan how you're going to rebuild your energy on weekend. What does energize me? All of us have things that re-energize us, and have a plan for your weekend. Incorporate that. Truly make time for things like your hobbies. Just a funny story, I started gardening as a hobby this past month, and I went and bought a fig tree, and I have no idea if this thing will actually grow here, but I'm going to try it. And I planted like 6, well, I started off with 3 fissure flowery plants on my balcony, and then I went and bought another 3 because I look very happy. So on weekends I truly make time for my hobbies like gardening, and thinking, you know, YouTube is my hobby, but this is also now my full-time job. So sometimes it is quite difficult for a content creator to really distinguish between what is work and what is your hobby, because a dream job is still a job. So I really need to draw the line between what is work and what is a hobby. So I must be honest, the past 2 months, the more I incorporate these things over the weekend, the more productive I am throughout the week. So really focus on rebuilding your energy on weekends. Then my third one is maybe a bit, I don't know if everyone will agree with me, but my third one is not taking people's unsolicited advice and agree to disagree. When you get older, it becomes easier to do more of what you want to do. And I think it is truly important to realize that you don't always need to take people's advice. I also want to say, be careful who you take advice from. I think it's sometimes easier when you get older to do your own thing. I think when we are young, the moment someone gives you advice, it feels like you need to incorporate it immediately. But the problem is, you need to be very careful from whom you take advice. The majority of people actually who gives you advice does not know you very well. And there's a difference between just general advice and advice that is very specific to your situation. And the thing is, what people usually don't always think about is that they have not walked in your shoes and they don't have your personality. So, as some of you know, I studied law, and I decided after studying for how many years, I'm not going into practice. And I think a lot of people had opinions, and luckily no one gave me that opinion. I think they know I have a quite strong personality, and to be fair, it does not have anything to do with anyone. What I do with my life does not have it's not actually anybody's business. But I did get some, I would not say advice, but I think some people was a bit skeptical when I said I'm doing full-time YouTube now. And to be honest, I was like quite scared to tell people I'm going to become a full-time content creator. With YouTube and with social media, there is effort and there is a certain amount of luck involved. So for some people it sounds like a gamble. I think what actually helped going into YouTube is nobody I know went into YouTube. So luckily no one felt like they can give me an opinion or advice. And when I go to get advice, I watch established YouTubers' advice and I really try and incorporate it. What I'm trying to say is, be careful who you take advice from, especially if they're not in the same field. Don't take a manager's perspective and opinion on the legal field. Take a lawyer's opinion and perspective on the legal field. Even on a personal level, it is fine for people to give you an opinion about a personal matter. But sometimes it's also okay to say thank you, and if you want to take the advice, take the advice. But just say thank you and do your own thing, especially with personal matters. And don't take people's advice for a specific career opinion or career if they are not in that specific field. And even saying that, take advice from people who you look up to and aspire to be. Then my fourth point is be more open-minded. I grew up in a home, luckily, with two parents who has always been open-minded. And I think you need to go through life to build an open mind. I think it's just human nature to judge very quickly. And I want to tell you a story. My father always said, when you go to university, you are going to meet so many people that is so different from you. And I can promise you they will do so much better than you. So I studied law, and I can't remember what legal subject it was, but we walked into this auditorium and all the students went in, and this older lady walks into this classroom. She walks in there barefoot, no shoes, and I could sense from the other students that this was not just weird for me, it was weird to them as well. And she walked to the stage and she said she was Professor who and who. And as I looked down to my handbook, I realized that this lady, this professor with her bare feet, has written our handbook. And I know this handbook is used nationally at every university for that specific legal subject. So I think it's human nature to judge a book by its cover. I truly believe that you should be open-minded and bring people in who is so much different than you. At university, I've met so many people that is so different from me, and they are very successful people today. So I think the problem is, especially when you're in school, there's so much social pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain way. The moment someone is different, it's like they don't fit into a box and you get judged. But when you go, for example, it doesn't have to be university, it can be overseas, it can be a different town, or just a different person in your town. You realize, wow, there's actually people out there which does not necessarily believe what I believe, does not necessarily look like the way I look, and there's so much you can learn from them. For example, there's a public figure in South Africa, a bit of a controversial public figure. His name is Piet van Pletzen. So Piet van Pletzen, he sometimes have a bit of a controversial outlook on life, and he's a very deep thinker, and he has a YouTube channel for the Afrikaans speaking people. It's called Prating. And I'm just putting a warning out there. If you're very controversial, please don't go and watch it. But even though he's so much different than me, or most people I know, there's so much you can learn from him. Every week he puts out an interview with some of the other public figures in South Africa, and they really discuss very deep things. And every week there is a wow factor for me. He really has the ability to bring in very conservative public figures from South Africa and really push them a bit to really get an honest opinion. And it is so important to be open-minded to other people's opinions. And I'm not saying you should change your opinion, it's just to be open-minded to the fact that there is multiple opinions out there. And sometimes it can change your mind, and sometimes it can reassure you that it's okay to feel the way you feel. And you don't need to take their opinion and change your opinion. So basically just a shout out to Piet van Pletzen. I think he's a wonderful, open-minded, cultural, fantastic person, which we all can learn from. Then my last one is like a 3-in-1 mindset, and it is be on your own mission, have the courage, and develop the confidence. I don't think one of them can exist without the other. To be on your own mission, you have to have courage, and to have courage, you have to have confidence, or you will develop confidence if you have the courage. There is 2 quotes that I have recently came across. It is something Mel Robbins said, and the other one is Dr. John Deloney. So I just want to get my phone. I think before I read this, I think it's sometimes, well, most of the time, it is difficult to have the courage and the confidence to try something new. For me, YouTube it sounds insignificant to put a camera in front of you and talk to that camera and then just post it online for the world to see. But it truly requires more confidence and courage than I think most people think. I did speak to my cousin the other day, and she's very good in crocheting. Very, very, very good. And I told her, why don't you start a crocheting YouTube channel? You will do very well. And she just told me there is no way in hell she can do that. It's just not for her. She feels as if she does not have the guts to do it, even though I think she can. But that's when I also realized this is maybe people do think this does take courage and confidence, and it does take courage and confidence. I'm really perfectionistic, and if something is not perfect, for example, the reason I also took so long to actually post this video or film this video is because our lovely neighbor, he started renovations and building things and building new home office spaces, and the majority of the time they were working on Saturdays and Sundays, and luckily today they are not being noisy at all. I don't think they are working today. And the other thing is, it was like raining the past 2 weeks every afternoon when I wanted to film. It messes with your courage and your confidence when you have this great idea to go and put it out there, but things are working against you. And just to have the confidence and the courage that things will work out. And I am just so grateful that this morning, like, the sun is out. It's actually not that hot outside because our temperatures skyrocketed this past 2 months, and sometimes you just need to wait. But the thing I want to say about courage is, let me read to you what Mel Robbins said. She said that the research about confidence is very clear. Confidence is not a feeling. Interesting. Confidence is not a feeling. Confidence is the willingness to try. And the reason why this definition is important is because the research shows confidence, as we talk about as a feeling, is gained from competency. Makes sense, right? Competency is a fancy word that means you know what you're doing. So if you know what you're doing, you feel competent, and that gives you the confidence. And the only way that you know what you're doing is to practice it over and over again. When you practice something, you start to gain skills, and you lose the resistance and fear around it. I think the major problem with confidence is we feel we don't have competency. And when you feel you don't have competency, you have fear. But that should not stop you from trying something new, because the more you get to do it and to practice it, you will feel more competent the more you practice it. She says, and that's where the feeling of confidence comes in. You have to be willing to try something you've never done before. And so you have confidence and display confidence when you're willing to try something new. That's it. So what she also says is, the moment you have the courage to try something new, that is confidence. It takes confidence to try something new, but to also try something new, you have to have the courage. So that was basically everything for today. I truly hope that opened your mind and made you a bit more open-minded about the year. And I know I will be posting this basically at the end of February or the beginning of March. But just know I had to focus on my burnout and really just readjust my goals and just figure out what I want to do this year. And I truly hope you do as well. Really focus on your energy this year and pour your love and energy into things things that re-energizes you, and try and step away from things that does not re-energize you. And I truly hope you go out this year with the mindset of enjoying your life. And as cliche as it sounds, but life is short. Really incorporate things that you truly enjoy this year. Focus on the people who love you and pour back that love right back at them. I hope you have a lovely day. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. It helps my channel so much. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you very soon. I'm not necessarily sticking to an uploading schedule, but you're welcome to go and follow me on Instagram if you don't want to miss my next video, and I will see you next time. Bye.